The mind has a dark side. Most fear it. Few understand it. Dark Mind Insights. Master the unseen.
Have you ever walked into a room and felt something shift without a single word being spoken? Not because someone was loud, but because someone was still. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They weren't forcing attention. They just sat there, calm, composed, watching. And somehow that presence felt heavier than noise. It's strange, isn't it? We expect power to be loud. We expect confidence to be visible. But sometimes the person who says the least controls the most. So why does calmness feel intimidating? Why does someone who barely reacts make others uneasy? To understand this, we have to go deeper, not into behavior, but into human psychology itself. 1. Calmness disrupts social expectations. From a young age, we are conditioned to respond. If someone calls your name, you answer. If someone challenges you, you defend yourself. If something excites you, you show it. Reaction becomes the language of social belonging. It tells people, I'm engaged, I'm predictable, I'm like you. But calm people break this pattern. They don't react immediately. They don't always mirror the energy in the room. And when expectations are broken, the brain starts searching for meaning. Why didn't they respond? What are they thinking? Did I do something wrong? This uncertainty creates psychological tension, not because the calm person is doing anything wrong, but because they're not doing what's expected. And when people can't predict you, they can't comfortably position themselves around you. That discomfort often gets labeled as intimidation. 2. The psychology of uncertainty. The human brain is wired to reduce uncertainty. It constantly scans for patterns to feel safe. That's why we feel comfortable around people who are expressive. We can read them easily. But calm individuals reduce visible emotional signals. Their faces don't reveal everything. Their words are measured. Their reactions are delayed. And suddenly, the brain has less data to work with. So what happens? It fills in the gaps, sometimes with curiosity, but often with assumptions. They must be judging me. They think they're better. They're hiding something. In reality, the calm person may simply be thinking, processing, observing. But the absence of obvious emotion gets misinterpreted as something deeper, something more powerful. And that perceived depth creates intimidation. Example, everyday interaction. Imagine greeting two different people. The first person responds immediately, smiles, talks quickly, and keeps the conversation flowing. You feel at ease because everything is clear. Now imagine the second person. They respond calmly, speak slowly, maintain eye contact, and don't rush to fill silence. You begin to wonder, did I say something wrong? Why are they so composed? Nothing negative has happened, but the lack of emotional noise creates tension. That's the subtle psychological weight of calmness. 4. Emotional independence and boundaries. Calm people often have something many others struggle with, emotional independence. This doesn't mean they don't feel emotions. It means their emotions are not easily controlled by external behavior. If someone praises them, they appreciate it, but they don't depend on it. If someone criticizes them, they consider it, but they're not defined by it. This creates a boundary, an invisible line that says, your actions don't dictate my internal state. For people who are used to influencing others emotionally through approval, pressure, or even manipulation, this boundary feels like resistance, and resistance often feels intimidating, especially when it's quiet and unspoken. 5. Calmness as a mirror. One of the most uncomfortable aspects of calm people is that they act like mirrors. When someone is loud, reactive, or emotionally unstable, a calm person doesn't absorb that energy, they reflect it. without escalating, without reacting, just by remaining steady. And that reflection forces awareness. Suddenly, the loud person becomes aware of their volume. The aggressive person becomes aware of their tone. The insecure person becomes aware of their behavior. And that awareness can feel uncomfortable. Not because the calm person is judging, but because their presence removes distractions. It brings everything into focus. Example: social dynamics. In a group setting, one person might be constantly joking, interrupting, trying to control the vibe. Everyone else adjusts to it. But then there's one calm individual who doesn't react the same way. They don't laugh at everything. They don't compete for attention. And suddenly the energy shifts. The loud person starts trying harder, talking more, pushing more. Why? Because their usual influence isn't working. And when influence fails, discomfort begins. 6. The power of silence and presence. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, silence can be a form of control. Calm people understand something most people overlook. Every word carries weight, so they don't waste it. They speak when necessary. They listen more than they talk. And because of that, when they do speak, people pay attention. Their silence builds presence. It creates anticipation. It signals that they are not seeking attention. They are grounded in themselves. And that grounded presence naturally draws focus without effort. Final reflection. So maybe calm people aren't intimidating by intention. Maybe they simply operate differently. They don't rush to react. They don't depend on validation. They don't lose themselves in noise. And in a world that is constantly reacting, constantly proving, constantly speaking, that kind of stillness stands out. It challenges people. It exposes insecurities. It creates uncertainty. And all of that combined feels like intimidation. But in reality, it's something much simpler and much rarer. It's self-awareness. It's discipline. It's quiet strength. So the next time someone feels uncomfortable around your calmness, don't misunderstand it, and don't shrink it to make others feel at ease. Because calmness isn't emptiness, it's control, it's clarity, it's presence. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a world full of noise is remain steady, silent, and completely in control of yourself. Like this video if it made you think in a new way. Share it with someone who needs to understand this, someone who's been misunderstood for being quiet, or someone who misjudges silence. And if you've ever been seen as too calm or too quiet, drop a comment below. I read them, and I want to hear your experience. Because sometimes the people who say the least are the ones who understand the most. And if that's you, you're exactly where you need to be.